Johnson Highway. Lucky was dead. As my brother and I stood over her, breathing hard from our dash to Johnson Highway, I wished I could believe otherwise. She lay in the street near the sidewalk. There was no blood. Her chest and paws were snowy white in the Sunday afternoon light, but her eyes were open. She did not move, and I could not bring myself to touch her. Lucky had been a house dog. She did not know about streets and cars. I could feel Bill's eyes pleading. "Is she?" I nodded. We turned away and walked home. Bill cried. I held back. A neighbor called City Hall about the body. Here's a picture of me with Lucky in her better days, 1953. My life, once so tidy, so perfect, was coming apart. In those first 2 years at Norristown High, it seemed I lost everything I once had. I was no longer the big-shot 9th grader in junior high. I was a nobody 10th grader in high school. I lost my girlfriend not long after she lost the ring of tiny hearts. Her final note said, "Everyone should get away from each other for a while." I lost my leadership in the classroom. Whereas I'd been a 9th grade whiz at algebra, geometry in 10th grade befuddled me. I lost the election for class president. I lost Lewis Darden, my friend and defender. I looked around one day, and he was gone. I lost my dream of becoming a Major League Baseball player. Though I played a pretty good shortstop for the junior varsity in 10th grade, the following year found me still on the JVs and still unable to hit the curveball. I lost my speed. In gym class and team practice races, I found myself in the middle of the pack. Once I was even the monkey. I lost my dog. And most of all, I lost George Street. Halfway through 10th grade, we moved to Locust in the north end, where the cellars were called basements, where the furnace was fueled by gas, not coal. Our new home was a brick single-story twin with a driveway beside it for parking the car. It had a yard in front as well as in the back. The sidewalk was gleaming concrete. I lost George Street not only as a location in town, but also as a neighborhood in time. A placid side pool of spear fields and black tape baseballs, of Lash LaRue and grandstand cheers, and roadmaster roamings, a 10-year-long moment that gave me my sense of myself and the world around me. And then the rush of minutes was upon me, and I was swept downstream. Instinctively, I listened for Mrs. Seaton's whistle, but it did not reach the north end. Bleak, dismal, dreary, gray. These are the words that come to mind when I think of that time. In fact, the only sunny day I recall was the one on which Lucky died. I do not mean to say that I gave up. I went out for sports, I did my homework, went to school dances with the guys. I got my driver's license. I was still just as friendly as I'd been a year before, just as neat, just as earnest. But whereas life had once responded by making me king and valedictorian and president, now I was getting election condolences and C's in geometry. Life, like my girlfriend, had dumped me. My string was nothing but knots. I visited George Street, trying to feel again how it had been. I rode past Dovey Wilmot's house on Hawes Avenue, this time in the family's turtle green Pontiac. I walked along the railroad tracks, humming Pomp and Circumstance, doing the hesitation step. In my bedroom, I touched the cardboard prom crown now hanging from the corner of my dresser mirror. When I looked up at night, I discovered that the stars over Locust Street were in the same places as they had been over George, only now they seemed even farther away. They did not inspire me to think of endlessness of time and space. They did not make me swoon. They simply made me feel little and lost. Late one night, still awake, I saw tiny sparkles in the dark, as if the starry sky had fallen into my bedroom. It took a minute to realize that I was seeing glitter fallen from the prom crown, a sprinkling on the floor by my dresser, invisible during daylight, caught now in the moonbeam streaming through the window. On Friday evening, October 11th, 1957, at Roosevelt Field, site of my 50-yard dash triumph 5 years before, Norristown High School played Lower Merion in a football game under the lights. Lower Merion was a powerhouse. Over the preceding 3 years, they had won 32 games in a row. But Norristown was good too. It figured to be a close, fiercely contested game, and it was. I was a junior now, 16 years old, and my autumn sport had become soccer, but I still loved football. I was one of thousands in the grandstand. As the teams changed field direction for the start of the fourth quarter, Norristown was leading 7-6. Each team had scored a touchdown, but the aces of Lower Marion had missed the extra point. But now a Lower Marion halfback was breaking free and racing downfield, blue and white shirted Norristown Eagles in pursuit. The Eagles stopped him on the 1-yard line, and the stage was set for one of the greatest moments in Norristown scholastic sports history. First down and goal to go on the 1. 1 little yard, 36 little inches. Lower Marion, 32 straight victories. Who could stop them? In the bleachers across the field, the Lower Marion fans celebrated. Norristown fans grimly awaited the inevitable. The first ace ball carrier plunged ahead, helmet first. The Lower Marion side erupted in a touchdown roar. But, strangely, no touchdown sign came from the referee. The ball carrier was crumpled in the rude arms of Eagle defender Mike Branca. The ball had advanced nary an inch. Twice more the aces ran the ball, attacking different points in the Eagle defense. The results were the same. The sound from the Lower Marion side was rising and falling, as if directed by a choirmaster. But now, as the ace quarterback bent over the center for the 4th time and barked out the count, Roosevelt Field fell silent. For the 4th time, the ace quarterback handed the ball to a running back. They refused to believe anyone could stop them from ramrodding the ball 36 little inches. And for the 4th time, the ball failed to penetrate the end zone. The impossible had been done. Now it was the Norristown side that erupted, with a roar and a celebration that continued through the end of the game, and burst from the stadium, and spread out across the town, and late into the night. I rode the tide. Lower Marion! We had beaten Lower Marion! I couldn't believe it. At home in my room I could hear the blaring horns, the shrieks of victory. Again and again, following my old habit, I replayed the miraculous Eagle goal line defense in my head. I went to sleep re-experiencing the event, re-feeling the thrill. In the morning I woke up and daydreamed on, and began to realize that I had a problem. For no matter how many times I replayed the goal line stand in my head, I kept falling short of satisfaction. The scoreboard had said the game was over, but for me it wasn't. For me it was somehow frustratingly incomplete. I discovered that Roosevelt Field was not the only field that the game had been played on. The other was inside myself. The game kept happening, and happening within me. I could not come to the end of it. And then, for no reason that I can recall, I sat down at my sturdy desk, reached for a pencil and paper, and wrote down a title. Then I began to write rhyming verses, and the verses became a poem. Goal to go. The score stood 7-6, with but 5 minutes left to go. The ace attack employed all tricks to settle down its stubborn foe. It looked as though the game was done when an ace stepped wide round right. An Eagle stopped him on the 1, and tumult filled the night. 32 had come their way, and 32 had died. Would number 33 this day for 1 yard be denied? Roy Kent, the Eagle mentor, said, "I've waited for this game. And now, defense, go stop 'em dead and crash the Hall of Fame." The first ace bolted for the goal, and nothing did he see, but Branca swearing on his soul, "You shall not pass by me." The next 2 plays convinced all the ref would make the touchdown sign, but when the light shone on the ball, it still lay inches from the line. Said Captain Eastwood to his gents, "It's up to us to stop this drive." Said Duckworth, Avery, Neer, and Spence, "We'll do as long as we're alive." The halfback drove with all his might, his legs were jet-propelled, but when the dust had cleared the fight, the Eagle line had held. At last, for me, the game was over. This ends the chapter. Please go back into the text to answer your questions before moving on.